So where in the world do we allow for crazy ideas to come about? Because if you're always trying to protect what you have, whether you're a large company or a government, then you're stuck with incremental progress. But if you really want breakthroughs, then you need to be thinking in outlandish ways.
Do you ever consider the possibility that technology is a life form in and of itself? Do you ever consider the possibility that we are somehow locked in some symbiotic relationship to we are the worker bees creating this new life form?
We're going to see a huge change in the car. And again, it's going to come pretty fast, by 10 years, I think.
And a kid in Africa today with a smartphone has access to more information than the President of the United States did 15 years ago.
That the cell phone in one's pocket today, the average smartphone, is 1 million times cheaper, 1 million times smaller, and 1,000 times more powerful than a supercomputer that was $60 million, half a building in size, 40 years ago. So what used to be half a building now fits in your pocket.
Which leads to an obvious conclusion. We are the gods now.
Welcome to the Futurology Podcast, episode number 11. My name is Jason.
My name is Alex. Hi.
Hi, Alex. Hey, it's good to be back. We're going to be a little rusty today because we've had a bit of a hiatus, but we're going to work
That's
through
all my
this
fault. Again, second hiatus we've had, and it's all my fault again.
No.
Crazy month. What can I say?
It's all right. We're happy to have you back, but it's been a bit crazy. We have a lot of awesome links to get to, and I want to hop right in. But before we do, I wanted to say thank you to Christopher Fox, who donated a little bit of cash to buy our bandwidth this month for the podcast. So
very nice of him.
Yeah, first sponsor.
Does he have anything he wants us to say or plug?
No, he said just keep up the good work. Maybe we can have you on. He's yeah. I don't have anything in his memo here for a plug.
That's fine.
And he says much love from Austria. The beer is on me.
Wow,
so,
good old Austria.
Thank you, good sir. Let's jump right into this first link. And it just goes to show that I've been away from this for a while too, because this first link makes me feel really stupid. And just by the title alone, let me start this off. It has 2,103 karma submitted by Merrick. Physicists have discovered a Joule-like geometric object that dramatically simplifies calculations of particle interactions and challenges the notion that space and time are fundamental components of reality.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we tackle the title piece by piece? Physicists are people who study physics. They've discovered a Joule-like geometric object. Joule-like is a bit, I don't know, it just means it's got straight sides, I guess. Geometric object is just a shape. It's just a word for a shape that dramatically simplifies calculations of particle interactions. So a particle interaction is the way particles behave around other particles. And that requires calculations to say whether something's going to go this way or that way, or they'll annihilate each other and turn into other particles and all sorts. It gets very strange down at that level. So this object, this shape, it's higher dimensional shape, which means that so you have length, breadth, and width for your 3D things, but theoretically you can go beyond that and you can have more dimensions, they're called. This higher dimensional object simplifies the calculations for working out what particles are going to do. And that last section, that it challenges the notion that space and time are fundamental components of reality, is a bit of pop science exaggeration.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I mean, reality is what you make of it, man.
Right.
So the fact that we experience space and time kind of shows that for humans, space and time is a fundamental component of reality. It's just, you know.
Yeah, and there's a comment on here by Velociraptor. he kind of throws it into to layman's as well. But I mean, this has the most karma out of all the stories. Why do you think this is so important?
I mean, it's important because it really is quite the step forward. I haven't read the paper. I'd like to. I had to deal with particle interactions during my physics degree, and I mean, I couldn't even handle a lot of single interactions, and this is an object, it's just a piece of modeling, a piece of just the way you mathematically look at something. Mm-hmm. It's a different set. Okay, let's put it this way. It's a different way of representing reality with equations. And using that equations, it just makes things nice and easy. So the way that, for example, in the past, the Greeks mapped out the skies, the way the planets moved, they had these circles within circles. And they had, so you'd have Mars or whatever traveling on this big circle, and then along that circle, it also had like another circle that it looped around, so it made sort of a spirally shape in the sky, like how planets move. Planet being the Greek planetes, which means wanderer. They wandered in the sky. They didn't move properly. So they had all these complicated circles within circles, and then people came along and simplified it and said, well, you know, what if the sun is in the center? And then using those equations and new ideas, it just sort of simplified the mathematical model, and suddenly with a new perspective, it was much easier to work out where the planets were going to be. You didn't need these complicated equations and circles within circles. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of what this is doing for particle interactions. So we had a typical view of particle interactions, which is the way that a human would think about it, which is two little dots going towards each other, and then poof, something happens. Mm-hmm. And this is a new way of looking at it that simplifies all the maths behind it.
So is there a point where it can go from theoretical to, I mean, is there any way to prove it?
Yes. I mean, I'm not even sure it's a something that requires proof. I think it's just a rejiggering of the equations. But the way you typically prove something like this is you take an event and you'd say, hey, if we were to use this equation, what would that mean? I mean, this is science. So you say, I have this hypothesis that this object, which has a fantastic name, it's called an amplituhedron, that this amplituhedron can predict these results. And it predicts a certain set of results, and you go to the lab and you do the testing, and if the results come out, then, well, hey, this model works. Science is all about making models. It's not even really about representing reality. It's just about making nice mathematical models so you can work out what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I'm afraid that if I read that paper, I'm going to feel even more lost. But
I think probably even I would as well.
I will dive into that. Should we move on to the next one?
Please. So, it's has 2,035 point score, karma, and it was submitted by, oh wow, look at this URL, ERWGV3G34. How do you think they remember that? And it's entitled, A Normal Working Week of 21 Hours Could Help to Address a range of urgent interlinked problems: overwork, unemployment, overconsumption, high carbon emissions, low well-being, entrenched inequalities, and the lack of time to live sustainably, to care for each other, and simply to enjoy life. Mm-hmm. And this is actually a link to... Actually, for once, we're not linking to a story on something. It's literally the report that was actually made. So this is a report by... looks like an organization called NEF, with the subtitle Economics as if People and the Planet Mattered. And it's just going through why they think 21 hours, like, wouldn't it be great if 21 hours was the new normal per week that you worked?
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of their points, but just to play devil's advocate for a minute now, I work for myself, and I know that if I only did 21 hours, I wouldn't get much done. On the other hand, I kind of like what I do, so I don't feel, and I don't have to sit in traffic and any of that stuff. But just to play devil's advocate, let's say you and I have a company and we're programmers. Let's say I'm the marketing guy, you're the programmer, and we develop apps. So right. a company comes to us and they want an app for their business. They're going to pay us $20,000 and we'll get half now and half on completion. Well, the more hours we put in, the faster it'll be done, the faster we get paid, and we can move on to better stuff. So I think a lot of people are going to have that mentality like, wait, why am I going to go fly a kite when I like programming anyway?
Yeah.
But listen, I would like to take some time off. I think they want, at the root, people shouldn't, be working more than 21 hours, and that's self-employed and all that stuff, and just take some time to go outside, spend time with your loved ones. That's great, but how feasible do you think that is? And is it a possibility?
Yeah, the way that I saw this is as a middle ground between kind of what we have now and what a lot of the basic minimum income people are talking about. So do you know about this? People on our Futurology are probably familiar with this. It's the idea that because of technological unemployment, eventually people are going to have to be provided via government with a basic minimum income. Just instead of like welfare or whatever, you just get a certain amount, and everybody gets it, even if you're some CEO. Everybody gets this certain amount. And I put out a good introductory video on that on my main YouTube channel, youtube.com/SpeakMouthWords, if you're interested in that. Slight plug. But what I'm seeing here with this article is kind of like the middle road between that and what we have at the moment. But as always, it's kind of, when people have these radical ideas like this, it always seems to be a bit sort of trying to steer the economy and just sort of shape it to what you want it to be, which I kind of see akin to herding cats or trying to push against water. Like the economy isn't like a thing; it's an idea and an abstraction based on everybody's individual interactions with each other. It's just a wonderful sort of emergent thing that just happens because
right.
Some people want things, and it's something that you can just say, right, everybody 21 hours, without probably getting catastrophically wrong somewhere along the line.
It's so weird that we kind of globally embrace that 40-hour work week too. Even though I think this when they thought this up, I think they were gearing it towards like the labor jobs, and if I was a construction worker, I would much rather work 4.5 hours a day than 8 hours a day. It's easier on the back, on the knees, can actually spend some time outside without a jackhammer in your hand. But I think a lot of those labor jobs are going to go automated anyway, and a lot of people, like I said earlier, who, let's say I make games in my spare time and that becomes my full-time job. Well, if that's something I like to do anyway, I don't really want to limit myself to 21 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it does, to be fair. It says in the in the report that, I mean, this would be the kind of the norm, and by the norm I think they almost mean the mean, like the average. There's going to be some people who work more and some people who work less, just like how we have with the 40-hour work week. You have some people who work less on part-time and stuff, and you have those crazy people up in the financial institutions that work for, what is it, like 16 hours, and they sleep for about 4. That just work those crazy hours. So I think they want to 21 hours the average.
And they like that too. Like a lot of people, Wall Street gets a bad name, and I agree. Those people shouldn't be making $400,000 a year to bet on something it's basically virtual betting, right? But their hobby is to work and to make money, and if they want to sit there for 16, 18 hours a day, just work, then who are we to tell them that they can't do that, right? It creates a big imbalance, but I don't know. What do you think, though, overall? 21-hour work week, good or?
I think it's indicative of a lot of the fact that this was upvoted is definitely indicative of something, whether that's telling of our futurology and their desire to just like to free man. I don't know who it was that said it, but there was a image put up recently. I think it might have been von Neumann saying that the idea of advancing technology is to free man and to free us up so we don't have to work constantly. And this is just one step towards that as an idea. It's definitely a good read if you're if you're the kind of person who is interested in these ideas of alternative economics and things, especially if you're a zeitgeist person. I know the zeitgeist people like these ideas of alternative economics, so just give it a read. Certainly,
but I think that also that I think it's harder for me because I do what I like, so I can't really. I think there's a lot of people out there who are stuck doing something they don't like, and I think that's got to be grueling. So, I think the overall goal should be to get everyone doing what they like while still contributing. You know what I mean? Like, you can, even if you like to sit down and play video games, there's probably, I used to work at a video game company. You can get a job playing video games. It only pays $9 an hour, but, you can work your way up and who knows, eventually you might develop. But I think also to kind of touch the other side of this is here we don't like as far as sick days and vacation days, Americans have a bit of a different work ethic than the Europeans. I mean, over there you guys get more holiday. As far as I know, anyway. I know
I think it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you get and the Dutch have ridiculous holidays over there. They have like mandatory tropical vacations and all this stuff. And I think that doing stuff like that for your employees is also huge. Like, listen, look, we're gonna have someone else handle all of your headaches. You don't have to worry about a thing. Don't check your email. Get out of here. Go to the Bahamas. I think that kind of a rejuvenation is also huge. But so. Should we hop to the next?
Yes, let's please move along.
This one has 1,422 upvotes submitted by Buck Nasty. The title is The March of Progress in Solar Continues. World record solar cell with 44.7% efficiency. And that's links to ScienceDaily.com. Now, we have discussed efficiencies quite a bit, and so I just want to read the first comment on this thread from Megadan76. The question is, how long until this gets to a solar panel that I can put on my house? And that was certainly my question, and after reading it, I got the gist of the technology, but they don't really break down if we're going to be able to see any of this technology or when we're going to see it.
Yeah. So this is So what this is the culmination in a long line of progress made in the field of solar technology, and what this one is in particular is it's the concentration panels. So this is when you take a whole load of mirrors and you shine them onto a single solar panel so that they work incredibly hot and with a lot of energy stewing in them, and it gets to for this one 44.7% efficiency. I mean, these aren't the panels that you're going to be putting up on your roof, to answer that question. These are the ones that are going to be sitting on top of some big tower in the desert with a whole load of mirrors around. Is what these are.
I think Masdar City is doing something similar. That brings up a good point, though, because these things probably are going to start to cook, right? And even if they are out in the desert, I mean, there's a possibility that these things could catch stuff on fire, right?
Yeah, but I would imagine that they have that in mind when they design them. But yeah, theoretically, if the sun were to go super bright one day for no discernible reason, then that's the problem there. Your solar panel on your roof is not going to catch fire. This might melt.
I don't mean the actual panels catching fire, but if you're looking at the, I mean, if you've ever messed with mirrors and magnifying glasses as a kid, you know that. I mean, it sounds silly, but right, it could be. You have that much heat going into an object. It could radiate to somewhere else. I know on the trip between Yuma and Phoenix, they've got a couple miles worth of panels, and those things, I mean, they're sitting out there in 120 degree heat all day long in the summer, and then that's just magnified. I'd like to know, it's just silly talk right now, but I would love to know how hot these things actually get.
Yeah.
So in doing something like this, I know the article says it's I don't know, I can't pull it up right now, but it's got like the efficiency of way more than one sun, right? So
yeah, 290. Well, it's not the efficiency. It clocked in at 44.7% efficiency when you shone the equivalent of 297 suns on it.
Okay, was measured at the concentration of 297 suns. So if this can't be used for individual use, would something like this be like for the government to power the grid, like a replacement for nuclear, or where are they experimenting with stuff like this? Just
this is would be at a power plant. So I mean, whoever owns it, the government or the energy companies or whatever, this would be at a dedicated solar power plant. This isn't for individual use and distribution.
Yeah. This is cool, but personally, is it still going up quite a bit? Like, I haven't seen individual solar articles in a while. I haven't seen many breakthroughs. Whenever I see something like this, my brain automatically thinks, oh, I'm going to have a solar panel with 50% efficiency on my house. But we're pretty far from that, yeah?
Oh, yeah. An interesting solar article I saw recently was that IKEA is going to start selling personal solar panels in the UK.
I saw that.
Which is interesting. It's a good step towards distributed power.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, but there's really not much to say about this. We've talked about this a number of times before. The march of progress when it comes to solar power is ever non-stopping. I mean, it's going to get there eventually. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, and it does have its own Moore's law. Like if you look at efficiencies over the last 10 years, even on personal solar panels, you can see that line, and it's steadily going up.
So yes, so that's the general gist of this. It's another solar panel story. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is a little different to what we normally do. This one's actually a self-post, and to be honest, I think I can just read it from the title. It has 1,238 points, and it was posted by Halcyon Red, and it's entitled, "Is the General Populace Oblivious to the Tremendous Scientific and Technological Changes that are happening and are about to happen?" Do you want me to read the content of it?
Well, my answer to the question would be yes, but yeah, why don't we read the content? Because it's only a paragraph.
Okay, I'll read it out. Sometimes, when I talk to someone in the real world concerning interesting topics covered by this subreddit, I've gotten some pretty weird looks and responses. From my personal experience, even in a university environment, it doesn't seem that people care or acknowledge what's been happening in the world of science and technology and where we're headed. That may sound a bit presumptuous to say, but many people that I talk to haven't heard much about the current scientific revolution. Some examples include glowing plants, bionic eyes, gene therapy, life extension in animals, advanced prosthetic limbs capable of feeling, cheap solar energy, driverless cars, quantum computers, artificial memories in mice, machine learning, 3D printing, artificially grown organs, nanoscale computer components, and the list goes on. This is now. Imagine the world of tomorrow. What will it look like in a few years? Honestly, it boggles my imagination, but when I talk to people, they have this sort of neutral reaction. It's pretty cool, I guess. It seems like there's been this tidal wave of advances in the last few years, and everyone is going about their daily lives as if it's all completely normal. The fuck? Am I going crazy? So, this is...
I deal with this a lot, too.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that listen to the show, and it's something that I directly address on my YouTube show.
How do you handle it?
I handle it by making a show called Nobody Paying Attention that informs people.
And where can that show be seen?
Oh, that show can be seen at youtube.com/SpeakMouthWords. Thank you very much for asking. I've just undergone a rebrand and there'll be a new one out this Sunday.
Excellent.
So, what do you have to say about this?
Well, someday it would be great that you could log into Twitter and Facebook and not see tweets about Justin Bieber, but technology news and stuff like that, breaking headlines. I would like to see a world where the scientists and the technologists and the engineers behind huge projects get treated like celebrities. And I'm not trying to take, I watch football, so I'm not trying to take anything away, but you're getting paid $10 million a year to catch a football. Well, what about people who are making these huge inventions, or who are like these cures? Like I bet you can. Everyone knows who caught that touchdown pass last week, but no one really knows who's no one knows the physicists behind the last article we read about the efficiency on the solar panels, and that's just a small part of it. That's far future. That we'll get to where knowledge is more important than physical attributes. But just as far as like talking about this stuff at dinner time conversations or whatever, I'm pretty animated when I get going about this stuff. So I can almost make it interesting, but I get laughed at all the time. And then my girlfriend doesn't help. She piles on. She says, "Oh yeah, he thinks he's gonna become a cyborg and live forever." And it's like, hey, you guys laugh now, but you wait when I terminate your ass.
You just wait till I have my cyber eyes. I will laser all of you. Yeah. Right? So I think what you're saying is that you want there to be 100 Elon Musks. I mean, he's the only sort of famous inventor-y type person we have like that. Right. And he's only really just recently reached that point. And even then, probably not everybody knows who he is. But I think it's good that people get behind people like Elon Musk, and it would be great if people got behind other people in the same way, but it seems like the only way you can get there is by making electric cars and sending rockets into space. But if people could get there for coming up with the amplituhedron that we talked about in the first article, that would be great.
Yeah. I don't know. I had an idea once. I pitched it, but I don't think it went anywhere. It was a show. It was kind of geared towards like the MTV audience, because they shouldn't be. I mean, who am I to say what they shouldn't be watching? But we've got a show about getting pregnant when you're 16, which really doesn't contribute to society, right? Or what? My idea was like start a show called Brain Fame and get a bunch of young people or people in general who have done amazing things, just using their brain, their ideas. And I think stuff like that might get the young people excited about it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because, Justin Bieber can piss in a bucket and get 6 million views, and every, news site will cover it. Why? That's not important. I've pissed in a bucket. It's not important. So
I guess so.
Should we read? You know what? I think this got submitted to Best Of, actually.
Best Of, there was a Best Of post. It's the top comment. It's got more points than the actual post has.
So since you like reading usernames, who what was his name?
It's AJSDKL9DF.
Yeah. So congratulations to you with 2,459 points for your comment on the... And we'll put these links up. But he starts off by saying the possibilities are truly staggering. I think this is what prevents a lot of people from seriously thinking of the future. Because it is. When you... and then he goes on. It's like it's like a full-page rant.
It's quite long, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's a good post.
Yeah. You think we'll get there in our lifetimes, though?
You know what? When I first started looking into all this futurology stuff, I was a proper 2045er. Everything's going to change by 2045. I thought it's starting to slip back a bit as I've matured as a futurologist.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'd like to maybe write a book about this kind of thing someday, eventually, once I'm knowledgeable enough. And it'll be interesting to see how that would differ at that point when I'm like 30 and writing about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, now the last link on here, you're excited about it.
Oh, man. Oh, I just love water-based futurology. There's not enough of it. Anything. Ships, underwater cities... living out on the open ocean, living under the open ocean, stuff to do with fish. Man, I'm going to read this out. I don't even care what order we're meant to be reading out the links. This has got 1,029 points. It was it was posted by Smile Louder, and its title is $6 billion floating city, freedom to dwarf world's largest ships ever built.
Yeah. And
it's a story about a design for an incredibly large ship. A ship so large, it is a city. And it has an airport on its roof. And
so
how many people living in it? Very many people. 50,000.
Yeah, so just to take a paragraph from the numbers section. The ship will travel the world circumventing the globe once every 2 years. Freedom will be big enough to accommodate residents plus 15,000 employees and 20,000 daily guests, and have 4 times as much roaming space in square feet per person than most modern cruise lines. Freedom is also expected to have 17,000 homes and 4,000 businesses. Sign me up for a business now.
It's very cool looking. It's a fantastic little piece of 3D modeling. But sadly, this is one of those stories where it's much better when in concept than in practicality. The idea gets relatively shredded in the comments from a bunch of marine engineers and things like that. And
goddamn engineers,
just ruining everything with your reality. And a bunch of people saying that they'd seen this kind of concept in their grandfather's popular mechanics magazines in the 90s. It's been going around for a long time, the idea of a real big boat. But we can dream, right?
We can dream. But what is now? This article doesn't say anything about why they want to build this ship. But in a previous article, and I'm just kind of going from memory, they kind of want to circumvent the business visa, right? So let's say I'm from China and I want to do business with someone from the States. Well, it's not easy to get a work visa all the time. So in theory, right, they could just cut out that middleman, cut out having to get that visa, and just meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the concept was?
That's not for this particular large boat. That's for a seasteading concept called Blue Seed. It's by a bunch of people, including I think Milton Friedman's grandson is one of the people behind it. But ideally, this could work the exact same way. You know, it's in international waters. You both just travel to the Freedom ship, and then you do your business there and head out again. And you know, nothing. It's got an airport on top of it, by the looks of it, and nothing. No kind of red tape required, really.
Wow, that's beautiful, though. The concept. Yeah, I wonder how the taxes and stuff like that would work if you were lucky enough to get a business on there.
Yeah. I believe, because I once looked into this kind of thing, just living on the open ocean. I had a bit of a dream, like a kind of bit of a brain crack about it 2 years ago, and I believe the law is that you obey the laws of the country that you just set out from. So, if this is built in America and it sets out, then it has to be based on American stuff. But I am not an ocean lawyer, so if I'm wrong, please correct us in the comments and we can talk about it next week, maybe.
Right, but
not next week, next month.
There's holes in that already, because this is going to every 2 years circumvent the globe, and they're building it in the ocean. It's too big to be built at a port. So right there, if it's built in international waters, wouldn't it be sweet if it were just a tax-free?
Yeah, and an anarchist haven in the middle of that. Yeah, wouldn't it? Would that not just be sweet?
Yes.
I don't know. It's called the Freedom Ship as well. So I mean, somebody's got their libertarian dream going in the design for this.
So I think that's probably about it for news. Other than that, the American government partially shut down today, and I haven't noticed.
4chan's 10th birthday, and I didn't notice that either. A lot of things been happening today. 1st of October 2013.
Happy birthday! Yeah. So, did you want to add anything else before I ask how people can get a hold of you?
Try out Soylent. I haven't tried it out, but look up this Soylent stuff.
The food?
The food thing that we haven't covered a story on yet. It's the powder. The guy was going to make all the nutrients go in it, and it would be the perfect nutritional balance for you.
Yeah. I now I've seen a couple of those articles get posted, but none of them have got the traction to hit the front page, or if they do hit the front page, they're just not getting the. So why would you want to do this? Just because it gets rid of the need for food?
Yeah, for sort of like, I don't know, skinny people like me who don't really care about food. Food's a chore, so I just want to get it out of the way. So if there's a powder, I can just put in some milk and drink it, and then I'm done for the day. That's the best idea in the world.
Oh man, that is really interesting. So you don't, man, you just haven't eaten good food, I think.
Oh no, believe me. I mean, I do enjoy good food, but it's good food every day. Why? You know, there's lots of other good things as well. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, the feel of blue tack.
No, I agree, and I would listen, if it tastes good and it has the nutrients that you need, then I would definitely do it. Same with in vitro meat. People say I'm crazy that I would eat a lab burger. No, I'm not crazy. If you can get the same, I mean, eventually they'll have burgers made in labs that have more nutrients, double the protein of a grass-fed cow, and probably eventually be cheaper too. So why wouldn't you eat that just because it was cooked up in a lab?
Exactly. Why would you want a burger made out of grass when you can have one made out of science?
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow Alex. What is it? SpeakMouthWords on Twitter?
SpeakMouthWords on Twitter. God knows what it's going to be. It's Halloween month, and everybody likes to get spooky on Tumblr, so I'm probably going to be SpookMouthWords on Tumblr.
Ooh.
And and youtube.com/SpeakMouthWords. I think that'll be everything.
Yeah.
How about you?
You can follow me at Regretful, or you can check us out at futurology.podbean.com. We have all the shows there. And if you're listening on iTunes, please come to Reddit and check us out. We're reddit.com. Just look up Futurology. And
Excellent.
yes, and we're not going to be so long between the next podcast, we promise.
No, my master's is finished now, so we can do one every month.
Oh, congratulations. All right, see you next month.
Bye.